See this as the end of the world. The very structure of the Bible is beginning to surface from hiding, shaking everything we thought we knew about religion. Science itself is changing. Archaeologists in Turkey were terrified when they uncovered archaeological evidence proving the Bible is real. Humanity may now face the supernatural Bible with an end date already set. One of the last places mentioned in scripture, Noah's Ark, was said to rest in Turkey. When archaeologists went there, they were horrified to discover a 515-foot bone-chilling structure, identical to the ark described in the Bible, buried deep underground. A terrifying 3D scan was carried out on site. Researchers could clearly see a man-made ship beneath the ground. Inside were maritime tools, food supplies, and multiple measurements perfectly matching the biblical account. Even artifacts such as rivets and fossilized wooden planks materials once used in ancient shipbuilding were revealed. How could this have been recorded in scripture unless the ark truly existed long before modern science ever knew of it? We should not see this.
Shalom Yashrala. First and foremost, I give a praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yabashai, Bahashim Rakakadash, for putting the spirit upon me to this video. This is Brother Ramya back at you with another video. You know, as you can see from the clip we were just played, these devils, has something, that they discovered, and they basically trying to paint it out as if it's the ark, but their measurements isn't adding up, and they ain't bringing forward no other information, just to expand on that point on them saying, why this is the ark, or why they believe that this is the ark. As it says, breaking news, biblical prophecy comes to life. Noah's ark may lie deep beneath the earth, Then, in the closing of the video, they added, if the Bible is real, basically they said, how could scripture, record this, that means the Bible is real. Or science is too late to it, or what's not, like they said. But this Bible was always real. The words of the Most High was always real. As he said, he comes to us in the volume of a book, so if he came to us in the volume of a book, how could you now doubt or make it seem as if the words of the Most High isn't real, Salakia. First precept we're going to get is the book of Psalms 40 and verse 7. It reads, Then said I, Lo, I come. In the volume of a book it is written of me. As the Moses said, he comes in the volume of a book, it is written of him. So everything recorded in the scripture from the book of Genesis straight on to Revelation, is the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Whether he put, the spirit upon, certain men, being his prophets, to write about it, whether he instilled their, instilled a vision into their mind, to speak about it, it's still his words, because he's just using them as vessels to carry out his words, Salakia. The Most High comes in the volume of a book, so he ain't coming halfway, he ain't coming with just the good, he ain't coming with just the body, he coming with the volume. A volume is the space that is filling up the area, and the Bible, is filled up from the book of Genesis straight on to the book of Revelation, as I stated, Then also in the, inside the snippet, or what's not, they said that, they have the measurements, and the measurements seems as if it would be the ark, but I can bring forth the blueprint, to what Noah, was given from the Most High, on how to build this ark. This is Genesis 6 and verse 14. It reads, Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, and the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. So, with that being said, as the Most High gave Noah the blueprint. The Most High was basically the architect and Noah was the contractor, you know. He just is following, the layout what Yahweh Shai gave them, and according to the article, according to the video, it was being said that the
with an
I can
end
play it
date
real quick.
already set. One of the last places mentioned in scripture, Noah's Ark, was said to rest in Turkey. When archaeologists went there, they were horrified to discover a
Okay.
515
515 feet,
foot bone-chilling
86 feet wide, and according to the scripture, the length of the boat, of the ark, it says shall be 300 cubits, and 300 cubits, is 450 feet, and the breadth of it is 50 cubits. 50 cubits is 70 feet wide, so it ain't 86 feet wide, and it ain't 515 feet long, Then it said, and the height of it, 30 cubits, being 45 feet tall, So this just going to show that right there is ensuring the accuracy and what they're trying to depict, to be Noah's Ark. And if this is really Noah's Ark, these devils was going to publish this information long before then, But the further reasons are the article. Verse 16, a window shall thou make to the ark, and in it a cubit shall thou finish above it, and the door of the ark shall thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shall thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die, And this is why the Most High, is to destroy the earth with water, because those wickedness have exceedingly reached the heaven back then. The same said way as he's gonna destroy this place with fire, because so wickedness has exceeded the heavens. It's the same way how we did it back then. We just did it with water, And according to that little video, it didn't mention that their findings, had any stories, and according to scripture, the ark had 3 stories, So the information that was given in the video isn't accurate that was lining up with the scripture, But it further reads, verse 18, but with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy son's wife with thee. And every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort, shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. So the Most High, is still following the his balance that he had set out. He even have the animals following it. The way as he's saying that it should be a male and female. Why is that? Because 2 of the same genders can procreate. 2 of the same genders can reproduce. And the Most High knew that, so he's even have that. He's even having that order being carried out. With the animals also. And he only saved a small number of people, which was Noah, his wife, and his sons, and his son's wife. So that was 8 people being saved in the ark. In the flooding. Along with a certain amount of animals. And according to their findings, that this little discovery is the ark and what's not. They said food was there. If that was the ark, how would food still be there? Wouldn't the food got eaten by worms or whatever small insects or what's not? Bugs or what's not? Because as you know, they could find their way in anything. And certain types of animals that dig under the ground could also find that food. So how you have proof that food is there, but he ain't showing it? And then you saying certain type of material being used, was ancient, but he ain't saying what type of material, and the scripture told you what type of material, the ark was made out of, go for wood. So if that was ancient material, why couldn't you state, what type of material it was, to further, prove that that was evidence of the ark? They couldn't, but I can further read inside the scriptures. Verse 20, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing, Salakio, and every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. Two of every sort shall come to thee, and two of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive, and take thou unto thee all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it, Salakio, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah according to all that the Most High commanded, so did he, And this is why the Most High end up saving Noah, and his family, because throughout this, throughout Noah's generation, he's the only one that was trying to follow the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of his ability, He was the only one doing the will of the Most High, and that's why the Most High had pity upon him, I gave him the blueprint to build the ark, to save a certain amount of animals, and to save, his family, and Noah followed, the instructions of the Most High to the T, because he built the ark perfectly. I could only imagine, how beautiful the ark was when Noah, had it finished. Because he got, instructions from the Almighty, the Almighty, the best, architect out there, being Yahweh Shai himself, So Genesis 7:1, and the Lord said unto Noah, come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation, and this is how the Most High is going to be, in time to come, with hopefully myself and the like-minded I can be a part of the elect number, because the Most High is going to, find pleasure in us and see our righteousness, and save us, because as I say, the Most High is going to visit this place with fire. He ain't going to use water no more, and in my opinion, I feel as though fire is a more, worse and severe way, to die, because you're going to actually feel that pain. You're going to actually feel all that heat. With drowning, you ain't going to really feel that as much as heat, and that fire, Verse 2, of every clean beast thou shalt take thee by sevens, the male and his female. Once again, the Most High showing that order, and as you know, 7 being a number of completion, So that number could range from 7 to 77 and 7, 700s to, what's not, because 7 being a number of completion, and it reads again, of every clean beast thou shalt take thee by sevens, the male and his female, and beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Why is that? The Most High, he showed more favor to those animals, that he had set clean, clean being those that you could eat, But those unclean ones being those that you can't eat, the Most High said only 2, one being the male, one being the female, Why is that? Because with a male and female, they can still reproduce, so their lifeline can still be carried on. And those animals are only there to be garbage disposals, to help clean up the earth after the flood, Verse 3, and the fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed. So to keep seed alive upon the face of the earth for yet 7 days, And I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that the Most High commanded him. So Noah followed the instructions of the Most High to the T. And this just go to prove that the devil's finance isn't accurate. For one, if this was actually true, the measurements was going to be accurate, because the Most High, he didn't just told Noah to build a big boat, to hold a certain amount of people. He told him to build a ark, told him what wood to use. He told him how to build it. He told him how it should be laid out, and he told him the accurate amount of measurements so that he can know how much animals could fit. And the Most High knew that. He knew that those big animals, like elephants and giraffes, them would need a certain amount of space. So he gave Noah those accurate measurements for a reason. Two, if that was actually the ark, these devils was gonna publish this long before, because as you know, they always trying to find a headline. They always trying to give people something to talk about. And if this is true, this is gonna be on those big news tabloids long time. But this only on this little short TikTok clip. This little jokey TikTok clip at that. So if this was really true, this can have the world seeing this. Millions more of people who would have seen this if this is actually true. This would be a trending topic. Three, they trying to make it seem as if the Bible ain't real. They saying, oh, this could prove that the Bible is now real. Now real? This Bible been real from the beginning, all the way from the book of Genesis straight to Revelation, as they stated. This book been real from then. So how all of a sudden, because you discover something, it's real now? What happened to all the things that was written, and the things that have actually happened already? Because as you know, some things written inside the scripture ain't happened as yet. So what happened to all the things that already happened? Those things are fake. You trying to say the Most High gave, his spirit, his spirit to those men to write about fantasies. This Bible ain't no ordinary storybook like how you all treat it. This is actually something to give you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But guess what? Only the elect or the nation racial is gonna get that. So this word ain't for everybody. But hey, ain't nothing fake about this book. This last precept, this book of Baruch 4 and verse 1. It reads, "This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die." This is the book of the commandments of the Most High. The Bible is the book of the commandments of the Most High, the law that endureth forever. This book, his laws and commandments endured forever, from the time of Noah up until our time. This book is a generational book, because even when we get the new kingdom, we can still be reading of this book and still be teaching from this book. These words ain't gonna never get played out. This is a generational book. This is gonna endure forever. So these devils, and they clip on them, finding the ark and what's not, and them trying to make it seem like this Bible ain't real, it's a bunch of, folly and what's not, These devils only want something to talk about, But nonetheless, hopefully this lesson is much edifying and serve this purpose. I give a praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Shalom.